Let's look at some of the Eisenhower decisions that were made. They were all controversial. The first one is the decision that he made in 1953 with regard to Iran. The United States, together with Britain, participated in supporting a coup in Iran that got rid of Mossadegh, who was a left-leaning Soviet, frankly, controlled leader of Iran, and restored the Shah to the power in Iran. Now, he is criticized for that, for the CIA's role in it. But let's see what it meant. That Iran was the most important country in the area. It had the most people. It had oil at that time, not as much as some others, but plenty, and therefore was a great force. By restoring the Shah to power, it meant that the United States had a friend in Iran, a very strong friend. And for 25 years, Iran played a role as a peacekeeper in the Persian Gulf area.
3 nations, 1 flashpoint, and a miscalculation by any one of them ends with a weapon of mass destruction in the air. That's not speculation. That's the assessment sitting on the desks of intelligence analysts in Washington, Tel Aviv, and Tehran right now. Here's what most people don't know. Iran and Israel were once allies, not reluctant partners, not quiet back-channel associates, actual strategic allies, sharing intelligence, sharing weapons, coordinating policy. Israel sold military equipment to Iran throughout the 1960s and 70s. Iranian oil flowed into Israeli refineries. Israeli military advisors trained Iranian officers under the Shah's regime. There were direct flights between Tel Aviv and Tehran. And the United States? The U.S. didn't just tolerate Iran. It built Iran. It armed Iran. It installed the government that ran Iran. So how do you go from that to sworn enemies publicly calling for each other's destruction?
And we will never help Israel. We will cut off our diplomatic relation. However, sending our army against Israel in any future probable war needs a thorough study.
How does an alliance collapse so completely that 2 countries now spend billions every year trying to destroy each other through proxy armies, cyber weapons, and covert assassinations? Here at the Allies, we don't cover the headlines. We track the classified strategies shaping global warfare, the operations that don't make the evening news until it's already too late. The democratically elected Prime Minister of Iran, Mohammad Mossadegh, has just nationalized the Iranian oil industry. That means British and American oil profits gone. The Eisenhower administration cannot allow that. So they don't. Operation Ajax, that's the codename. A joint CIA-MI6 operation designed to do one thing: remove a democratically elected leader and replace him with a monarch loyal to Western interests. They flooded Iranian streets with paid agitators. They bribed military officers. They manufactured protests. They orchestrated chaos. And when the moment was right, they moved. Mossadegh was arrested. The Shah was restored to power. Iran's sovereignty was quietly dismantled from the inside by 2 countries that would later lecture the world about democracy. The CIA called it a success. Iranians called it a wound that never healed. The Shah's regime, brutal, corrupt, propped up by American dollars and American weapons, has finally collapsed under the weight of its own oppression. Ayatollah Khomeini returns from exile. The Islamic Revolution takes power, and on November 4th, 1979, Iranian students storm the U.S. Embassy in Tehran and take 52 American diplomats hostage 444 days. That's how long they were held. 444 days of national humiliation for the United States. 444 days that rewired American foreign policy for the next half-century. The relationship was over, not strained, over. And from that moment forward, Iran began building the one thing it believed would guarantee its survival against American and Israeli power: a nuclear program. Now we enter the shadow war, and this is where it gets classified.
The two most powerful air forces in the world will have complete control of Iranian skies, uncontested airspace. And Iran will be able to do nothing about it.
Iran doesn't fight like a conventional military power. It doesn't need to. It fights through proxies, armed, funded, and directed groups positioned across the entire Middle East like pieces on a chessboard. Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, the Houthis in Yemen, militia networks in Iraq and Syria, each one a forward operating capability, each one a deniable asset. Iran calls it the axis of resistance. The Pentagon calls it a multi-front threat architecture. Either way, it means that if Israel or the U.S. strikes Iran, Iran doesn't just strike back from Tehran. It strikes back from 6 directions simultaneously. Israel understood this before anyone else, so Israel didn't wait for a conventional war. Israel went covert. A computer worm begins destroying Iranian uranium centrifuges from the inside. No troops, no missiles, no fingerprints. The operation is later confirmed as a joint U.S.-Israeli cyber weapon, codenamed Stuxnet. It set Iran's nuclear program back by years. That same decade, Iranian nuclear scientists begin dying, one by one. Targeted assassinations carried out with a level of precision that points to Mossad, Israel's intelligence service. Operating deep inside Iranian territory, Iran never publicly confirmed how far the damage went. But they changed everything: their security protocols, their personnel structure, their underground facilities. The shadow war was working, and both sides knew it. Now here's where we are today. And pay attention, because this is the part that doesn't make it into most of the coverage. Iran now has enough enriched uranium that analysts estimate it could produce enough fissile material for a nuclear device within weeks, not years.
Striking example, in 1973, when I was president, you'll remember the Yom Kippur War. And at that time, all of the producers of oil in the Persian Gulf cut off the sale of oil to Israel, except Iran. That would not have happened if Mossadegh, the one that the CIA got thrown out, had been in power. It happened because Eisenhower, in his wisdom, did support those forces that restored the Shah, and we had the Shah in power at that time. And now that the Shah has left, as he did in the Carter administration when he's replaced by Khomeini, Iran has become a wild card, a little weakened at the present time, but still very important.
The breakout timeline has collapsed. Israel has the most battle-tested air force in the region. It has conducted confirmed strikes inside Syria, Iraq, and Iran itself. In October 2024, Israeli jets struck Iranian air defense systems inside Iranian territory, a move that would have been unthinkable a decade ago. The U.S. has carrier strike groups in the region. It has repositioned heavy bombers. It has reinforced its presence at every key base from Qatar to Diego Garcia, 3 military powers. All positioned, all watching each other, all running out of room to maneuver. And here is the part that keeps analysts up at night. None of them want a full-scale war, but every move they make, every drone strike, every proxy attack, every naval provocation in the Strait of Hormuz increases the probability of a miscalculation. One wrong order, one ship that doesn't receive the signal in time, one strike that hits a target it wasn't supposed to. That's how wars that nobody wanted have always started. The question is not whether this conflict escalates. The question is whether anyone in that triangle has the control or the discipline to stop it when the moment comes. History suggests they don't.